Okay, so welcome to the Chakrahan segment of divination where we use tarot cards. Usually, what I've just started doing is putting out the cards, seeing what messages need to be reflected, meditate on them, and then write them down so that I don't lose memory. And as things come up, they'll come up. So, the overarching collective reading or message for today is a life of great purpose is being in service to love. And what this ties into is love is a sliding scale between the lowest vibration and the highest vibration. The lowest vibration of fear and the highest vibration being of joy and of peace. So if you are being in greater service to love, you are understanding that when you find yourself in aspects of low vibration, you have to learn alchemy. The alchemy will help you transmute this energy and let it rise up. So that's almost like your work. And you might be a light worker in the shamanic healing space as well, or you are being pulled into that space where your light is to bring light into the dark. And that's what I think needs to be a little bit more certain for you so that you don't get surprised when you experience all this light and all of a sudden you find yourself in this like dark space and depression. And remember, depression, I remember Jim Carrey saying his spiritual teacher taught him that depression is deep rest. That means that your body needs this deep rest from playing this character in the 3D, right? It's exhausting. So we have the first card, and here it says focus on love. So focus on alchemy, learning self-mastery through alchemy. This is what it's about. At the highest point of your service, it's knowing how to alchemize these low vibrations. So it's about becoming grounded into that space and certainty within yourself that you are an alchemist. What I'm getting now, perhaps if you haven't read The Alchemist, it might be a time to read it or perhaps listen to it and reread it. There'll be certain, when you read something repetitively, it opens up new valves and passageways. It's like these new neural pathways that are opening up for you. So what I got here is the ego has kept you stuck in the 3D, so in this matrix reality. You must remember that everything is created from an idea and from the unknown space. So in that dark space of which people think is like evil, in that dark space where there is nothing and it's empty, it's so full, you bring that to light. So I'm almost getting like this image of the tree of life. Look at that. And it's almost like what I'm getting now is you can't only rely on what you see in the 3D because it's one part of manifestation. It's one part of the manifestation. The major part of manifestation happens inside when your eyes are closed or you are in a meditative space and place within yourself. Okay. And then we have, there is nothing new under the sun. Like everything that is already, right? Now, if you look at that, what we learn from this today is that life is a process of unfolding. Maybe you're being stuck in building, trying to concretize everything, and that's the problem. The Good Place. If you have watched The Good Place, it's on Netflix. I think it's still on Netflix. Watch it if you haven't. The Good Place is this part where they have to leave this world that has been created for the good people, right? And in the end, when they're leaving on the train, everything disappears and it comes into like black matter, basically. Everything is like, it just becomes like pitch black. There's nothing to see, but it almost like it strips away these like little puzzle pieces slowly, bit by bit, up until there's nothing left. And it's almost like this is what's happening in your life now, like these illusions that have been projected in your life, the old systems, the nervous system based out of fear or survival, that is depleting. And it's almost like everything needs to be completely blank right now so that you can create something new and not something that is of old. So that might be like the struggle. And it almost got into the space of saying that everything is an illusion. Like what was, it has already come. Because if you think, when I thought of the unfolding, it's this process of like the Michelangelo. He first had an idea that was going to come out through this piece. I don't know if it was marble or the Michelangelo. Certain like hard material. I don't know if it was marble. I don't want to Google that right now. But that material, he already saw the vision of the Michelangelo, and what he had to do was precisely remove all those things that were limiting our vision of being able to see what was created. Does that make sense? So now the harder you push a door that says pull, you will tire yourself out. So right now I'm almost getting like there's this pitch blackness happening, the illusions are being removed, yet what you are still trying to do is create from old by pushing on a door that's asking you to pull because you're not reading the signs. And it almost feels like the signs are there, but what you are doing is because you are moving out of habit, out of like this fear based, out of this is what I've always known what to do versus this is what I'm learning new what to do, you are pushing and you're tiring yourself out. So in that tiring of yourself, it's almost like all you need to do right now is pull, lean back, lean back, lean back instead of push. So just lean back and pull. So a lot of meditation. Then the third card I got here is you are a leader, yet you are trying to follow. You've been following for a long time, yet through this path you've discovered that you actually prefer leading because that is your natural state of being. So unstuck yourself from the 3D reality of having to follow paths that were previously dictated to you on your behalf. So the conditioning, your family's conditioning, your religious conditioning, your immediate government, your environment, all that is being stripped away right now. So what I got here too is because you're a leader, you have your own particular system. Yet, and this particular system is not something that is going to be dictative to someone having to follow a certain set of rules. I think this is where we have the problem is we can follow certain sets of rules and follow a certain blueprint, but it was so unique to the individual creating it that it's going to take shape in different ways for you, right? So we could read a part in a book. It's like art. We can look at art, but we're going to perceive something completely different because of our certain DNA and blueprint that we have internally. Okay, so you are leading right now. Stop trying to follow. And you're probably someone who is helping or going to help people find their own blueprint. So it's very different to creating a blueprint for everybody to follow, to go, hey, this is a book that you have to follow from step 1 to 2, and this is how you're going to get successful. It's saying, no, this is how you can find your blueprint. Here's this material, here's this material. But I think the quick fix that we've always been taught to shape shift ourselves into is have like one system. And I think that can eliminate the beauty of discovery because life is about discovery. So it's like you can also strip away someone's opportunity to discover the world on their own through this lens and then make it their own. That's what it's about. So unlock your own system. And then the fourth card. So right now, there is a time for you to be able to build a better relationship with yourself and the divine, your higher self, greater power, source energy. And source is calling you in on a very deep level, yet you are so tuned into external and like, what is happening externally? Tell me, feed me with more information, but you're not going to get the information you are looking for on the outside, because remember, you are leading, you are not following. Okay. And what I'm getting here is you are building the capacity to really lock in, for lack of a better word, the head to heart coherency. Like to be so in tuned with your intuition, to be so clear with your intuition that your decision is the only decision that is needed and the final decision that is needed, right? So you going into that place where you are trusting yourself on that deep level. Okay. Next card is your healing is in taking inspired action and leaving trails behind for those who stumble across the path that you have forged. So whether you're a writer, different books that you'll write, different songs, you'll always have reference points for people to be able to go, okay, this is the version of this that I want to take. Because you've noticed how there's so interesting, because it's almost like it's cooking. So I'm getting like a recipe book. I'm getting recipes. When you are looking to make a certain meal, there are so many people that have different versions of making the exact same thing. Even pasta, right? Even baking something. You've got the vegans, you've got the gluten frees, you've got the vegetarian, you have the you have all sorts. I don't know why I was going there with that, but you have all sorts of options. And the thing is, if you have lived on earth, I'm sure there are probably at least 3 different types of diets you've tried. If it's not like a particular like diet, a different like regime, which is a diet actually in its own, but you have tried something to be able to find what works for you. Life is about discovery through trial and error. So don't try to be like someone, be like yourself. And then whoever finds insight within you, or they find resonance within you, then you can share, but not to dictate that this is the only way, but to help them find their way. So I'm getting lots of silence, time to learn how to hold space for you. You're so used to holding space for others, but now it's time to hold space for all the love that you have cultivated within yourself over these past few years, right? I'm getting that you either might be new on this journey, but for some of you, you might be very long on this journey, yet you're still doing the same things you did, let's say like 10 years ago, in a different way still, but still trying to heal those belief systems and those limitations so that everything, all those illusions can now be cleaned, like for you to have a clear slate sort of thing. That's what I'm getting. So it's the silence, being in the dark, following with certainty what you feel versus what you see. So now this new earth that we're moving into is catering more to what we feel versus what we see, because what we see we fight about so much. We really fight about so much about what we see versus what we feel, and we're so afraid for some, and during the path you get so afraid of feeling all these intense emotions, feeling the parts of the discomforts, and understanding discomfort is simply information. It's new information, or it's a reminder. So love, unconditional love, is loving all parts. It's not just loving the parts that make you feel good. And this is where the fine line between escaping and the seeking instant gratification. At a certain point in your life, it's not going to work, right? You're going to need to sit with the discomfort and the pain and learn how to alchemize. That's like the only way, but you have to find it within your own unique way. So stop trying to be like other people. Be yourself, but find assistance from other people and support with how they've done a particular thing that you're interested in that particular time. So lots of feeling. And it's time to take care of yourself fully. You are someone who probably cares a lot for people and takes care of people a lot, but now's the time for you. And what I'm getting is put your mask on first. Be honest with yourself. It's this thing of putting your mask on first. I say this often, that when parents are on a plane and they're helping their child, the air hostess will always make sure first that, ma'am or sir, please make sure that you put on your mask first, because it goes back to that oxygen. If the oxygen tank is limitless, but you think this is you, this is all you have, and you're trying to save your child, this is the limited capacity that you're giving. So open up yourself to the unlimited space, so that those who are coming to like find your essence and your nurturing, that they will feel the abundance of it and they won't feel the limited version of it. Because like right now you're sitting in that like fear and that limited like space. So it's important that you open yourself up. Okay, so honest with yourself, be honest with what you want. Then we have the Four of Abundance here. And so what I drew here, I laugh at this is my version of like what I drew here. It's almost like a reverse table, but it's a foundation with pillars. So what is your foundation? What is your foundation? You have to set that as understand what your foundation is now, with all the information that you have had in the past, all the experiences from other people and yourself. Today, in this moment, what is your particular foundation, and what are your pillars from that foundation, so that in the 3D you can navigate that, whether this foundation is flipped and turned from foundation building a house and walls to a table. What are your pillars that constantly hold you tethered to, oh, okay, this is like my reference point. It's almost like a navigation system. That's kind of what I'm getting there. And to ask yourself, like, what are your limitations? It goes back to that like belief. We go into another card which reinstates alchemy. And what I got is that this is so sweet, and I understand how frustrating it can be, is that what you don't see is that you're winning in all areas of your life and all aspects of your being already, right? You don't see it because you are leading. You don't need, winning is more than enough for you. So your character is like, winning is more than enough for you. And your winning, your version of winning, is the fact that you improved on yourself from yesterday. That's more than good enough for you. You appreciate that. You appreciate not competing against others, but competing and supporting this version of yourself from yesterday's version of yourself, even this morning, right? Obviously, depending on when you are listening to this. And without needing the recognition from the 3D, the 3D is just a way for those who are who fear the unknown, and who can't necessarily move along the path without guidance. Okay. So we're always going to need guidance anyway. So no matter what, there's always going to be a reference point. Some people just might not be holding your hand like fully. So you're winning. And what I got is that you need to ask yourself, what is your recognition? Right now, life, with all these illusions and all these things that you have, you kind of need to do like a little bit of a recon for yourself. And it doesn't have to be this like big thing. It's just today, for today, what do you have in your awareness? Ask yourself, what is the recognition you actually need? Because you might not be someone who's too tapped into the material world too much, or needs that sort of validation to feel good. So what is your feeling good? And your feeling good, you must understand that it's going to change from time to time. Your palette from when you were younger is not the same palette that you have now. Okay, so allow for that change and transformation. Okay, and then we have this card. The last one is it said heart of the moment. And it says today that give us today, well, not this, but what I picked up in meditation is that give us today our daily bread. It doesn't say give us today our yearly bread or give us today our lifetime bread. It says in this moment now, give us today our daily bread, and you'll be given it. And understand that bread, where it says that man doesn't only live on bread alone, right? Bread, when we think of the word, we think of it like as a physical bread. You can make toast, you can make whatever it is within that bread. Or bread is just about being fulfilled. So sometimes doing breath work, that's what I'm getting, like having breath work, because what the bread is, it is feeding a certain part of you. Now, the bread that is feeding a certain part of you, that is bringing comfort and nurturing to you, is not always going to be through ingesting something. So right now it's also about redefining what sort of foods that you have that help you to ground, because that's why we also need it. It helps us nourish, nurture, and it brings us a sense of grounding from spirit world into physical world. What I do, take it if it resonates with you, I usually keep like soup available so that if I haven't cooked for the day and I'm really, really hungry, instead of going for something that I know I might feel bad eating, I go directly to soup first when I feel I have the capacity, of course. Always, it's a daily, daily thing. So the numbers that we were almost working with were 6, 2, 4, 5, and 7. 6, 2, 4, 5, and 7. When you add all those numbers up, it adds to a 6. So 6 right now stems back to, confirms this whole message that this time period is about deep care and love to self. Are you alchemizing and understanding what part of the sliding scale you are on? And your work is just to constantly be in the alchemy. You're an alchemist, so be in the alchemy. You are becoming the attracting point. You are not chasing. So you are magnifying things towards you, because you can only experience what you have, and you can only experience what you are. But if what you are is on the lowest vibration, that is what is going to come into your experience. So feelings of deserving and worthiness, listen to mantras and affirmations. I have on my Mandulo page, I'll put the link, is an affirmation called I am complete. So you must understand that you are already complete, right? The process that is happening through the unfolding is a removing of the limitations. Once again, like I go back to the Michelangelo, where he had this vision, he knew it, and precise chipped away at that marble piece constantly with patience and precision, just chipped at it slowly, bit by bit. So don't rush the process, but go in. Go in and learn alchemy in different ways. Okay, so I'm going to read this last bit. Just the oracle message of this card. So it says you are in a transition zone in your life and relationship. It is one moment that will manifest as many opportunities, where one choice will open up many pathways to fulfillment for you. We always have the chance to create our future with our present choices, but at this time, you are in an especially fertile karmic period, having just come out of a cycle of learning and about to enter into a new cycle. So there's new things happening. This is a time to be willing to take a chance or a risk, to be happy within yourself, no matter what is going on around you. Your life is about to take a karmic turn, and you can feel peace in that knowing. So learn alchemy, learn self-mastery, go into meditation. I love you. If you want a personal reading, please do comment, or I'll also put my email down below and you can get a reading. You can either do it through transcription, or you can either do it telephonically. Okay.